Call the January 19th meeting of the Architectural Review Board to order.
Just a minute, Patty.
First, what?
Sorry, I have to swear in Kevin before we can start.
Oh, before the whole thing? Oh, okay.
He has sworn in to participate.
Yeah.
Right.
I got you. I was going to introduce him, so we'll do it the other way.
We'll let Don do that.
Okay.
Hi, Kevin. Welcome to the ARB. And I just have to read this paragraph to you and swear you in. So if you will raise your right hand. And do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of this Commonwealth and be faithful and true to the Commonwealth of Kentucky so long as you continue a citizen thereof, and that you will faithfully execute to the best of your ability, my screen went blank, the appointment of Architectural Review Board according to law? And do you further solemnly swear that since the adoption of the present Constitution, you, being a citizen of this state, have not fought a duel with deadly weapons within this state, nor out of it, nor have you accepted a challenge to fight a duel with deadly weapons, nor have you acted as a second in carrying a challenge, nor aided or assisted a person thus offending, so help you God?
I do. Yes.
All right. Thank you. Okay, Patty, now you can do your business.
Okie dokie. That, of course, was the swearing in of our newest member of ARB, and that is Kevin. Is it Breck?
Freak.
Freak?
Freak.
And we are, I have to say, I'm so pleased because we soldiered on almost all last year with 4 people. And so if we weren't all there and we couldn't all participate, there was no quorum. So we are delighted to have Kevin and also Brittany, who joined us last year to help fill out our unit. There may be one more spot running loose, but at least we can now exhale. First of all, I'd like to remind everybody to leave yourself on mute during everything, and when you want to speak, hit unmute, and if you want to speak, raise your hand so that I can call on you. The other thing is everybody needs to, something we've sort of learned is that in these meetings, if we don't sort of aim our little mouths at the microphone, sometimes we don't speak all that clearly, and it's difficult for the public to hear what we're saying, and also for Dawn to understand what we're saying, and for everybody to understand what we're saying. So please try to speak as clearly and into the microphone as you possibly can. And with that, let's see. The next thing on our agenda is the
Roll call.
Roll call.
Brittany Sams.
Here.
Irma Johnson.
Here.
Nicole Conkle.
Here.
Kevin Breek.
Here.
Jennifer Oberlin.
Here.
Patty Cross.
Here.
We have a quorum with 6.
Excellent. Excellent. The next thing is the election of officers. And as I understand this, what we'll do, no, it is not. No.
We've got to approve
hello.
the minutes.
I'm so sorry. You're just going to have to smack me. Has everyone had the opportunity to read the minutes from December 15th? Is there perhaps we'd entertain a motion to approve?
I'll motion to approve the minutes from the December 15th meeting.
Thank you, Ms. Oberlin. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson. Everyone, let's just do a voice vote. Everybody who's in agreement, please say aye.
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 Anyone who disapproves, say nay. And that takes care of the minutes. Now we're at new business, maybe. The first item is the election of officers. As I understand it, the folks elected tonight will begin their duties as soon as this meeting is over. Is that correct?
Ed, is that right? Not till the next meeting?
Or after this one?
No, they participate in the vote tonight. If they are elected as a chair or vice chair tonight, since we're holding this at the first of the meeting, they will take over and conduct the meeting.
Oh, okay, that's fine. Then I will do my little comment right now. I want to thank everybody for the trust that you've had in me all these multiple years. And I especially want to thank Mr. Logan and the staff, Jordan and Eric and Dawn, for making it a lot easier than it needed to have been. So I appreciate you all, and I look forward to working with you in the future, just as a member of the ARB. So thank you. So we would entertain a, let's see, nominations for the office of chair.
I would like to make a motion.
Yes, ma'am.
I would like to move to nominate Nicole Conkle for the position of chairman.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Are there any other nominations for chair? Okay. I suppose we vote. We can do acclamation. What do we want to do?
Madam Chair, I would ask that you call for a vote, and you can do it by aye or nay, and there doesn't need to be a roll call if you don't want to.
Okay, thank you. All righty. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, thank you. And now we need a motion to nominate vice chair.
I would like to make a motion.
Yes, ma'am.
I would like to make a motion to nominate Kevin Breek for the position of vice chairman.
Okay.
I will second that motion. It's Jen Oberlin.
Okay, thank you. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Okay, there you have it. Miss Nicole, it's all yours.
All right. Well, thank you, former Chair Cross, for all the time that and attention you've given to all the members of the board in the past years. So moving on with new business, we have Ms. Ramsey to read new business number 2.
I'm Miss McDonald, and I believe that Jordan is going to make some comments before we did this item.
Okay, Mr. Miller.
Yeah, sure. I did send you all the calendar for this year, 2021, a couple weeks ago, and I just wanted to see if anyone had any issues with any of the dates. It's we traditionally do meet on the 3rd Tuesday of the month, every month, pending no holidays or election or anything like that. So if anybody has any issues, I just would like to discuss it now. If not, then we'll stick with what Ms. Perry, who is our administrative assistant, has proposed for the year. Good. Okay, awesome. Annual report. So every year we do an annual report, which is required in the Article 17 of the zoning regulations that staff is required to provide to the board. So I'm finishing up the CLG annual report that we do every year, and typically I kind of piggyback on that and send you all almost the same thing that I send to the SHPO office. So I'll send that to you all in a few weeks. that you all can review. And if you have any issues or comments about it, we can talk about it in February. Also wanted to let you all know, which I'm sure you all do know, about the new historic preservation officer that the city of Frankfort has hired. Vicki Bierenberg, who was the CLG coordinator for the state of Kentucky Historic Preservation Office, will be joining the city. I'm excited to have her on the team, and this is something that I think that the city has needed since I've been here, given the citizens and just the development in our historic district. Frankfort just has so many great resources. So I think this is a good thing. And you'll be seeing a lot more of Vicki here in the upcoming months, and maybe a little less me. We're still kind of in a limbo stage trying to figure out how things are exactly going to work. But I'm excited to have her on board. So she'll probably be with us next month at our February meeting. And lastly, I just want to thank Patty Cross, who has been our chairperson for 5 years. Which might be a record. I don't. Whenever I took over the ARB from my predecessor in January of 2016, and that was the same month Patty got nominated to chair. So it's been a pleasure working with you, Patty, and it's not an easy job. And we've had a lot of big projects, some contentious, but we've made it through, and I think we've done a good job. So it's been a pleasure. All right. And that's all I have. And if you're ready for the first item, Dawn, you can call it.
Okay. In accordance with Articles 4 and 17 of the City of Frankfort zoning ordinance, Brent Swagger and Ellen Collins are requesting a certificate of appropriateness to remove a chimney for a property located at 108 West Todd Street. The property is more particularly identified as PBA map number 062-32-01-013.00.
All right. So 108 West Todd Street is located just off of Capitol Avenue. As you're going up the hill there, almost right where you meet the Capitol, you turn right, and it's two buildings down on West Todd Street. They're requesting to remove the smaller flue that's currently existing. It's an 18 by 18 is the size of it, but it's probably 3 to 4 feet that it comes off of the roof. A chimney flue that's non-functional. The applicants are currently doing an interior renovation, and the foundation of the flue on the interior is taking up kind of some of the space that they might need for an interior renovation. So they'd like to remove that flue, just being as that you can't really remove the interior of a chimney, the foundation part, without removing the top part. Makes it structurally unsound. So if you look in your staff report, I did have 9 proposed suggested facts for you all to consider. We are recommending approval of the removal of the chimney flue. There is a larger chimney that currently exists. It's much more prominent and more near the street elevation on the building that will remain as well. So I haven't received any comments except from we have received comments from the Commonwealth of Kentucky's Historic Sites office, and they had no problem with it. They are an adjacent property owner. That's why we've heard from them. So I'm happy to try to answer any questions if you have them.
I do have some questions. Nicole, am I allowed to just ask them, or?
Go ahead, Ms. Sams.
Is this flue is not functional, but is it in any kind of other disrepair? Is the mortar crumbling or anything? I
don't think so. Not in complete disrepair. The applicant might give a little more clarification on the exact state of condition, but I don't believe it's in terrible shape.
Are there other questions for staff? Okay, are we ready to hear from the applicant? Mr. Speaker, Ms. Collins.
Hello.
Howdy.
Hi. Did you all have a chance to read the staff report?
Yes, we did.
Did you have any questions or concerns about it?
No, it seemed like it was accurate, and we definitely agree with the recommendation.
Members of the board, do you have any questions for the applicant?
Ms. Conkle?
I'm sorry. Yes.
I heard him say that he agreed with the staff report, but nobody's asked about the specific conditions. I thought you might want to do that.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Do you agree with this? I don't see any conditions, just recommendations. Do you agree with those?
Numbers 1 and 2 under the recommendation.
Yes,
Thank you.
they're fine.
I'd like to make a comment. I'm sorry. On condition number 1, it says the existing open building permit shall be amended to reflect the work approved by this request. That's inaccurate. That's a leftover, I'm sorry, from a previous staff report. So I would change that condition to be building permit shall be applied for and issued by before any work begins on this request, if approved.
I guess that's how I took that to be, Jordan.
Sorry about that.
Mr. Miller, would you repeat the modification to the first recommendation?
Yeah, a building permit shall be applied for and issued by the planning department before any work is to begin for this request.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, and Mr. Swigger, Ms. Collins, you still agree with that as specified?
Yeah, I had interpreted that to be how the amendment reads.
Great, thank you.
Madam Chair,
Yes,
may I ask a question of Mr. Swiger?
please.
Mr. Swiger, I'm going to repeat Ms. Sam's question. Could you give us a little bit more information about the condition of the chimney that you're about to demolish?
Sure. Well, Jordan did a good job describing it's a small 18 by 18 flue. There's no interior fireplaces that it connects to. It probably was originally used for the kitchen and maybe a furnace in the basement. On the outside, there is a little bit of crumbling. It's you might have seen in the picture, it's actually covered in stucco as opposed to just an exposed brick. And there is a little bit of crumbling around it, but it's not in terrible shape.
Thank you.
Members of the board, do you have questions for the applicant? Okay, we'd be willing to entertain a motion then if there's no further questions. Yes, Ms. Cross.
I would move that we approve the request for a certificate of appropriateness to remove a chimney for the property located at 108 West Todd Street with the 2 conditions listed on page 2 of the staff report based on the 9 pieces of evaluation that staff provided.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Is there any discussion on this motion?
I would like to have some discussion.
Go ahead, Nancy.
Okay, I'm still new at this, so correct me if I do anything wrong. But on reviewing the guidelines, the design guidelines for the district, it looks like in section 4, 5.2, retain and maintain original chimneys. The guidelines upheld by the city do state that original chimneys, particularly those that are visible from the public right of way, which these are, shall be maintained. I do understand, as Mr. Swager just mentioned, that the original masonry has been covered with stucco. So I'm not sure if that makes much of a difference in this, and that it's not the original masonry that it was. But it is viewed from the public right of way. And as I understand, the demolition of the chimney is not being requested due to financial hardship, and it's not in bad condition. It's just for an interior renovation. And I'm wondering, the architectural plans for the kitchen included in the application I don't think they pointed out exactly where the chimney was or what it would be obstructing in the new plans, but I'm wondering if there wouldn't be a way to design the kitchen in such a way that the structure could remain, and if maybe the linen closet on the second story couldn't be foregone, just because of the precedent that it would set. To have an exterior chimney removed that's in fairly good condition just for an interior renovation. So those are just some concerns that I have.
Okay, thank you. Just, is it Mr. Logan?
Yes.
Is it acceptable at this time to pose that question to the applicant? Or should we continue discussion and return to the question?
I think we ought to, at this point in time, the applicant has testified. If you wish to reopen it for additional evidence, that's why I asked him the question about that when we were discussing it. I think we ought to continue on with other questions and discussion among the board, and then we can ask the applicant. Okay?
Thank you, sir. Perfect.
Thanks.
All right. Is there any other discussion from the board? Mr. Breek?
Yeah, I do have concerns about the precedent that it would raise with the language in the zoning. So you know, it would set it would open a can of worms, I would think.
Well, okay. Mr. Miller?
I just want to give you all just some information on what's been done in the past. I know that doesn't matter what happens tonight by any means.
Can we hang on and let me get the discussion from the board, and then I'll come back
Yes.
and open it to you and to Mr. Swiger and Ms. Collins.
Absolutely.
Did members of the board have any further discussion? I'm sorry, Mr. Logan, I have one more question for you.
Certainly.
As the chair, I made some notes on the review. Is it appropriate for me to go ahead and express my points for discussion as well, or should I refrain from doing that?
Certainly.
Okay. I will just state that with this being a contributing property and with the chimneys, both of them being listed as specifically as character defining features, it does cause some concern for me as well. I didn't want to do a second check and make sure that any other members of the board wanted to present topics for discussion. Okay, Mr. Miller, what was it that you wanted to share? Oh, pardon me. Hang on just a second, Ms. McDonald.
I'm sorry, there's a motion and a second, and we didn't do any vote. We went straight into discussion. Are those motions off the table now, or?
No, they may discuss a motion prior to vote.
Okay, thank you.
I did not want them taking additional testimony before they entered into the vote. That's what I was saying earlier.
Thank you for the clarification.
Thank you.
So we should vote before we move forward with hearing from Mr. Miller and Mr. Swiger and Ms. Collins.
In my opinion, you've taken proof and you've closed it. If you are going to have comment now, it's opening back up. You would need to table the motion, withdraw the motion, do something with it before you start taking additional proof.
Is it possible to table something and pull it from the table in the same meeting?
Yes, it's very possible. Yes.
Okay. Does anyone on the board like to make a motion to do so? To hear additional testimony?
A motion to table the initial motion for further discussion.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Okay. Mr. Miller, what did you want to share earlier?
I would have no comment now. I'll save it for the next meeting.
Oh, okay. Then Mr. Sweeger, Ms. Sams brought up in discussion that, I'm sorry, Ms. Sams, what was your concern again? If there was a way to design the kitchen in a way to avoid modifying the chimney.
Well, we commissioned an architect to help with the design of our kitchen, and that's one of the things that we looked at early on. You know, what can we do? Because obviously, from a different perspective, from a cost perspective for us, you know, that adds quite a significant cost to have to demolish the chimney. But we really could not find a very good workaround. It really does take up a lot of usable space in the kitchen, and so we did consider that. And like I said, if we could have avoided that, it would have saved us, or would save us a lot of money. So anyhow, yes, we did look at that, and I'm not sure it would make for a functional or very good kitchen design leaving it in.
Is there any further question for the applicant since we're back at this stage?
And I guess one additional thing is, you know, when we consulted early on about this, Jordan told us that I guess in the past ARB has approved quite a few of these types of demolitions of these small service chimneys. You know, we have 2 chimneys, and I think it's a matter of interpretation, but certainly the large chimney that is for a couple of fireplaces in our house is really significant, and we will be keeping that. It'll remain functional. It'll remain a prominent feature in the house. I guess you could argue that the small one is a character defining, but I'm not sure. You know, I personally wouldn't agree that it's a character defining element of the historic nature of the house. So, but there is precedent. There's quite a few of these types of chimneys that have been taken down and approved by the board. So there is precedent there.
Any additional questions? Okay. Would anyone care to make a motion?
Madam Chair, I think the motion should be to remove the item from the table and vote on the motion and second that's there.
A motion that we remove the tabled item and we vote on the original motion as proposed. And I would like to point out that the recommendations, number 1, had to be altered to read that it was applied for and approved by the planning department before the work can begin.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
And now we're ready to roll call for the original vote,
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Call the question.
which was to approve the request. Okay. Ms. Sams,
No.
Ms. Oberlin,
Yes. Yes.
Mr. Breek,
No.
Ms. Johnson,
Yes.
Ms. Cross,
Yes.
Ms. Conkle.
No.
Motion fails 3-3.
Mr. Logan,
Yes, ma'am.
the motion's failed 3-3. Is
Yes.
there any future action that we should take on this?
Not unless there's someone that wishes to make a motion, that is different from the first. In other words, if there's some additional item to be added or deleted.
Thank you.
Otherwise, motion fails.
Is there any other business before we adjourn?
I have nothing.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
I'll second. That's Jen Oberlin.
Thank you. All right. Apologies for my rocky start. I will be better prepared next meeting. And Dawn, sincerest apologies for getting your name wrong.
That's okay. Are you going to ask if all are in favor to adjourn?
Are all in favor to adjourn?
Yes.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Night.